So good evening, everybody. Welcome to this great event and to this great organization's celebration. I have only 45 minutes to talk before I turn it over, so I should get started. The first thing I'd like to do is ask not the current board of directors to stand up, but anybody that used to be on the board of directors of Nexus. There are some of you here, I'd like you to stand up, please. Polly's looking down.
It wasn't even a board.
Wasn't even a board, but Paul Fay, weren't you on that? I mean, it wasn't really a board, that's right. It was something different. Governance. Anyway, let's give these three folks a round of applause. And now I think that everybody who's currently on the board stand up because I appreciate that. A round of applause. You know that a good board is necessary here for guidance, for focus, straight and narrow on this. I would next like to ask all the staff of Nexus to please stand up. Take a bow. So by introducing Rapa, he'd be the first to say that he is not the sole voice or the sole mind of the sole vision of Nexus, and so it's important, I think, for him more than anybody, that all of you that just stood up got some recognition. Being slightly advanced in age, I'm starting to feel old. I'm not an elder yet in the sense of the Cultural Wellness Center, but probably older than some of you guys. That makes me want to sort of go back just for a moment to a little history, which is the history of the Community Development Corporation industry, which came out of through the 60s and 70s and emerged really from some 10 or 20 years prior to that of neighborhood organizing, a lot of which came out of Chicago, Solowitsky, and so on. Mary Keith and I had lunch on Monday, and we're talking about this as well. The Community Development Corporation was a somewhat different focus and animal, which was the neighborhood folks said, let's try doing some projects ourselves. Let's build our own housing, or let's build our own commercial projects or whatever. And from the very beginning, there was a tension and an issue about the role of the folks in the community vis-a-vis these projects. And because of my age, I was actually around then and saw the issues like the early computers that the number crunchers that the CDCs were using, the suits that the CDC folks would put on to go to the banks to talk about financing, et cetera, which are all quite different than what the neighborhood organizing scene had been about and was about. That was a superficial level, but on a more meaningful level, I think there has been a 30-year problem with the Community Development Corporation, project by project industry that I am a part of, in the sense of having a hard time really engaging with and incorporating the voice of the communities that they're in the midst of, that they're genuinely developing projects on behalf of, but the incorporation of this voice and this vision and the culture and the soul of all the community has been a challenge. And there's certainly organizations that do it extremely well, including Hope with Mary Keith and Dayton's Bluff with Deanna Foster, et cetera. But I think that Rapa and Nexus, over the past 6, 7 years, 5 years, have been a local and national leader in articulating the absolute necessity of fixing that problem, of filling that void, of bringing folks from the community to the table in a way that is absolutely meaningful and permanent and and so that whatever flows from the work of community development, community building, et cetera, genuinely feels like to the folks in the community like their vision and they believe in their own capacity to keep doing this. So I'd like to bring Rapab now and commend him for fantastic leadership and vision that resonates nationally in this regard, and I think he's been an absolute force in changing for much the better a very broad industry. Rapab.